What is guys, this is Hyro once again and coming at you guys with another content of Cookie Run Kingdom. And in today's video, I'll be finally going over the new PvP arena tier list for January 2023 after the Moonlight cookie update, adding both the Moonlight as well as our Milky Way cookie into the tier list here, guys. And you guys can actually already see that the tier list has half been filled, all right, and it is going to still be exactly the same or almost exactly the same as it was before for the S minus all the way down to the don't use. So starting off quickly to the don't use part, it's going to be Chili Pepper, Fig, as well as Sonic and Tails. Of course, these cookies are not going to be used at all. Yeah, they're pretty much useless and you should not be leveling them up. And of course, guys, just keep in mind all of these tier lists as well as all the cookies being placed into the tier is based on my experience as well as my opinion within the game. And I am currently in Master 1 and Grandmaster 3 around there for the pure vanilla server. And then now moving on to the C tier is going to be Dark Choco as well as Madeleine, Raspberry, Mollasauce. We got our Pastry, Lilac, Poison Mushroom, as well as Tiger Lily. So these cookies are very average. They're not really good, but they're not really bad either. They're just really decent, you know, just regular placeholders for some of the cookies that you're going to be seeing inside of the higher tiers. Next one is going to be B tier. B tier is like the literal, you know, average of everything, just slightly better than the C tier. It's going to be Strawberry Crepe now, Moon Rabbit, as well as Red Velvet, Kumio, who has lost kind of her place within the one-shot comps because of the new cookies being added and the one-shot comp just kind of switching out now. And then we got our Black Raisin, Cherry Blossom, Latte, Twizzly Gummy, Snow Sugar, Mango, Cream Puff, we got Mint Choco as well as Sparkling, and our Candy Diver, right? And then now moving on to the A tier, it's gonna be Milk Cookie. Even with his magic candy and the slight buff that he did get, is not significant enough for him to be moved up to any of the other tiers. And then it's gonna be our Cocoa, you got Tea Night, Affogato, Licorice. Even with the magic candy, not very, like, you know, PvP meta oriented, I will have to say. It's more towards the guild boss battle as well as boss battles and the new event that we have going on for the Cake Hound Frenzy. And then we also do have Prophet Cookie. Prophet Cookie is being used here and there for the arena. However, just keep in mind that even though he is being used, he's really a I'll have to say very difficult to build for majority of the players, as well as he does need to be used in a specific, like a very specific team for him to be viable. Now moving on to the S minus tier, there are cookies that are good and very situational, but still are not going to be like, you know, very meta focused here. And it's still going to be Sea Fairy. Sea Fairy is the only ancient / legendary right now that are going to need a buff here. And we do need to hurry up and see Sea Fairy receive something, because her kit is very, very, very plain and simple right now with just the stun and the basic damage. And we got Riot Cookie with the magic candy as well. Very good cookie, but still you know, being pushed out of the meta kind of because of the fact that there are better cookies right now to be used. We got Pumpkin Pie, Macaron, Squidding with the magic candy, Almond, Pomegranate, as well as Parfait. So these two cookies, yes, they are great supports, but within the arena, because of the amount of burst damage and all the other stuff that are going around, I'll have to say it is going to be better to use other supports rather than these two. Now moving on to now the meta SS as well as S tier. All right, let's get into the meta first now, guys. This is going to be the new meta and it has slightly changed, and we're going to start out with Hollyberry. Of course, Hollyberry is going to be absolutely meta here, guys, and she is killing it. Everybody is using Hollyberry as the main tank now, just like how it was with Fit and Seer. But if you guys do go to any of the, you know, leaderboard with the top 100, you're going to be able to see that Hollyberry is being used 100 out of the 100 teams. And now we still have Financier, who is going to be still meta support tank alongside Hollyberry now. Of course, there are going to be teams here and there that are not going to be using Financier, but I'll have to say Financier is still going to be a big part of the meta and still is worthy of that meta title. And now we got the DPSs, and it's going to be Moonlight. No doubt right now, guys, Moonlight is going to be just everywhere inside of the arena. And if you guys are not taking advantage of Moonlight, if you guys do have her, then you're missing out, guys. Make sure to use her. She has the amazing sleep, debuff, as well as the extra damage, and she is able to self heal as well. So she is going to be amazing. And then of course alongside her, majority of the time it's going to be Black Pearl being able to do a bunch of damage, being able to dodge the enemy's attacks as well. And you do have the synergy that she has with Moonlight once again. And the next one is going to be our Frost Queen as well as Sherbet. These two Frost comp cookies are still going to be amazing here, guys. But of course, I'll have to say Sherbet is going to be the core of any of the Frost comps, especially if you guys are trying to use Frost Queen inside of your team as well. And then we still got BTS as well as now Pure Vanilla, who is going to be an amazing healer. Everybody else is using Pure Vanilla right now. And really, it's going to come down to, whether you guys have the 3 Ancients and Legendary slots filled or not. And if you guys do have that filled, usually Pure Vanilla is the one to go, and then it's going to be replaced by BTS. But I believe that as soon as a new cookie comes out and that cookie is a healer with the amazing kit, that's when probably BTS is going to slowly come off the meta. Alright, but as of right now, still, because it is still new and we only got Moonlight as well as Milky Way, I think BTS is still here to stay for a couple seasons longer. So I have to say these cookies are absolutely meta right now, and you are probably going to be seeing a lot of these cookies majority of the time. Like 95% of the arena are going to be filled with these cookies. But we still have some other cookies that are slowly going to be filling off the slots as well, and that's going to be consisted of the SS tier now, guys. And that is going to be Crunchy Chip. Crunchy Chip is actually really good right now because of the amount of slow that he is able to do with his claw mark debuff. And on top of that, because of the whistle treasure that we have going on, which is going to increase the crit percentage of all the cookies by 15%, he's also able to do extra damage with his skill. And on top of that, he does have that ability to survive a little bit longer even after his death with his Captain Wolf. Alright, so that's the reason why Crunchy Chip is absolutely amazing in the arena right now. And on top of that, Wildberry is actually back here, guys, from S tier now to the SS tier because of the fact that less BTS are being used. We have Wildberry, who is able to be used next to Hollowberry to not only provide the 15% damage resist to all the cookies while he is using his skill, but also for him to stun the enemies and deal the extra damage as well. Next one is going to be Brute. Brute is still good, but definitely going to be used less often than Crunchy Chip as well as Wildberry and as well as Financier. But Brute is still there, guys, especially if they are not using a BTS on the enemy team. Then Brute is going to be able to still stun lock the enemies as well. Pinecone is the same as kind of how it is with Brute. But Pinecone definitely needs to be used with Sherbet in order to take advantage of the extra damage. And of course, you guys were able to see that Pinecone was able to do some insane damage on my previous video that I've shared with you guys. And it's very similar to how Choco Brute is, except now Pinecone is actually able to take advantage of the stun immunity from BTS and is able to do extra damage because they are going to be immune to stun. Alright, and then Werewolf is still going to be a good tank here as well as a secondary tank, but definitely going to be something that is going to be used a little less often than some of these guys here. And then moving on to the DPSs for the SS tier are going to consist of Captain Caviar as well as Vampire. So Vampire Cookie with the Magic Candy is actually being revived here as well because of the fact that we are able to focus and kill off the Pure Vanilla and Sherbet or some of the enemy DPSs as quickly as possible with the usage of Whistle. But just keep in mind that it does get countered sometimes by the Monocle. But if you guys do have enough cooldown on Vampire, then you actually might be able to kill off the enemies as soon as possible. And the next one is going to be Espresso with the Magic Candy as well. Espresso with the Magic Candy is actually doing really well in the arena right now too, in order to counter and deal extra damage to the teams still using BTS because of the stun immunity, and also because of the fact that other cookies are pretty squishy right now. Espresso is able to do some insane damage. And then Clotted Cream is still good, but not going to be used as often as some of these other DPSs alongside, of course, Moonlight, Black Pearl, Frost Queen, and Sherbet. But Clotted Cream is still actually being used in order to counter some of the Financiers as well as some of the other teams that are using non-solid almond tanks. Alright, so keep that in mind. And then of course Oyster is now actually being super good here because of the usage of Whistle, being able to increase the crit percentage as well as crit damage. Oyster is going to be amazing cookie for your team. And then Herb, I will have to say, still kind of kicking it in the arena, being able to deal with the frost comps. But of course, keep in mind, Herb is probably going to slowly come down from the meta as new cookies get added. But I'll have to say, Herb is still going to be the secondary healer, of course, after Pure Vanilla and BTS. Now moving on to the S tier, it's going to be a little bit sad news, but Dark Cacao has come down from the SS tier to the S tier because of his usage. He did not receive any buff except for the passive debuff resist. Of course, that is pretty big, but it is not going to be as significant as how it is with Holloberry and Pure Vanilla. And of course, I forgot to mention it, but if you guys do want to watch the reviews that I've done for the 2 ancient cookies who received a buff, make sure to go watch it and see exactly what has changed for their kit. Next one is going to be Purple Yam. Purple Yam is actually being used less often as well, but still going to be super good in order to deal with some of the cookies. But of course, I'll have to say, compared to Holloberry as well as some of the other tanks that we have going on, not as good. Next one is going to be Milky Way. So Milky Way sadly is going to be placed in the S tier for now because of the fact that there's just so many competitive tanks going on in the arena, especially with Financier still holding that place alongside Holloberry, and Wildberry Crunchy Chip are going to be another 2 cookies very fit for the meta right now. Milky Way is good, but not going to be able to shine as we thought she would be able to, even with the defense reduction as well as the damage resist that she has for her own skill. And on top of that, we do have the shield that she is able to provide. Holloberry as well as Financier, Crunchy Chip, Wildberry are just going to be a bit more team oriented as well as damage oriented and meta oriented right now. But just keep in mind, Milky Way has her own good usage inside of different game modes as well as boss killing and things like that. And then we got Sorbet. Sorbet is S tier, being able to deal with tanks and stuff like that, but going to be used a little bit less right now than other cookies because other cookies are able to just do so much more damage. And then Eclair has finally dropped to the S tier as well. Of course, Eclair is an amazing cookie, but right now, because of the fact that the DPS roles, majority of the DPS roles are filled with the meta as well as SS tier, Eclair is slowly losing his place inside of the meta as someone who is able to deal the weakness debuff on top of the damage. Next one is going to be Caramel Arrow. Caramel Arrow as well as Cotton are going to be the same story here, guys, as well. They're still good, but not as good as before. But if you guys do have them and you guys don't have any of the meta as well as SS, you can still use them for your team. Cream Unicorn as well as Carol, they are still good healers as well for the meta. However, of course, once again, the healers that you're going to be able to see majority of the time are going to be consisted of BTS as well as Pure Vanilla, and sometimes you might see Herb being used as a secondary healer alongside these 2 in order to provide that purify for the team. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the PvP tier list for late January of 2023, and this is going to be the second tier list of this year now, and it is going to be consisted of the Moonlight as well as Milky Way cookie being added. And of course, the meta is slowly expanding every single update here, guys. There is no one set team that wins everything now. You really need to know exactly who is good and who is going to work against certain teams and certain cookies, and that can be found in majority of my comp videos rather than the tier list. Tier list is more of a general idea here, guys, so just keep that in mind when you guys are watching. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys found the video helpful. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys would like to change anything, if you guys have any questions and things like that, and I'll try to get to you guys as soon as possible. Anyways, guys, once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.